In this video, you create a door swing detail component that can be nested into any door family. You also create subcategories to control the various line styles and thicknesses. Finally, you explore how detail levels are used to control the component's graphical complexity, both in 2D and 3D views. Many elements within your Revit model will be created with a specific level of detail. For example, an aluminium window frame would be modelled with simplified geometry to improve the performance and also aid the production of views at differing scales. However, detailed drawings and sections at higher scales would need to convey more detailed information as shown in the image on the left. Detail components can be nested into 3D families and set to display at fine levels of detail or when the component is cut. However, at a coarse level of detail, you would only want the basic information of the frame as showed in the image on the right, which could be directly derived from the 3D model. As well as providing accurate construction information in detailed drawings, detailed components can also be used to represent symbolic information relating to components such as door swings, glass, and window hinge positions in plan and elevation. These sorts of details are not necessarily derived from 3D models, but are needed for suitable construction drawings and details. The use of nested detail components negates the need to embellish Revit views with manual line work. On the Revit home screen, we'll begin by creating a new family. In the New Family Select Template File dialog, let's go ahead and select Detail Item, and we'll select Open. Of course, this Revit template will then create a new family. This new family has two default reference planes that are created for us. Both of these planes are pinned and by default define the origin of our family. We'll now go ahead and create some additional reference planes. On the Create ribbon in the Datum panel, select Reference Plane. On the Context ribbon on the Draw panel, we'll go ahead and select Pick Lines. And on the Options bar, we'll set an offset of 3 feet. We'll begin by offsetting this reference plane to the left and this reference plane above. We'll now create another reference plane to represent the panel thickness. So again, on the Options bar, we'll amend the offset to 2 inches. We'll then take this reference plane and offset it to the left. We'll now add some dimensions to our newly created reference planes. On the Context ribbon in the Measure panel, go ahead and select Align Dimension. Let's begin by dimensioning these 2 reference planes here that represent the panel thickness. We'll then add another dimension. This will be an overall dimension of our actual door opening. And again, we'll add another dimension over here. Let's press Escape twice to release the Align Dimension command. We'll begin by adding parameters to our newly created dimensions. With the Control key held down, I'm going to select both of these dimensions here that represent the door opening. On the Context ribbon in the Label Dimensions panel, we'll go ahead and select Create Parameter. In the Parameter Properties dialog, we'll now enter a parameter name for the door opening. We'll leave all the defaults set in the dialog box and select OK. We'll now add a final parameter for our door panel thickness. So we'll select this dimension here, and once again on the Label Dimension panel, we'll select Create Parameter. This will be called Door Panel Thickness. Again, all the defaults will remain the same, and we'll select OK. We can now test our parametric framework. To do this, we'll simply just drag this reference plane and check that the reference planes react to the change. So let's drag it down, and we should see that the reference plane on the left-hand side then moves at the same rate. Okay, so we're now ready to create some subcategories. The subcategories will help control our line work for our door plan symbol. To do this, we'll select the Manage ribbon, and in the Settings panel, we'll select Object Styles. In the Object Style dialog, we'll begin by creating a new subcategory. Let's name this Swing Symbols. We'll then go ahead and select OK. We'll create another subcategory. This one will be for door panels. And again, we'll go ahead and select OK. Notice in the Object Style dialog that we could actually change the line projection, and in fact we're going to do that for our door panel. We'll now amend that from 1 to 2. But additionally, we could also change the line color and the line patterns for each of our subcategories. We'll then go ahead and select OK to the Object Styles dialog. We're now ready to create our line work. To do this, we'll go ahead and select the Create ribbon, and on the Create ribbon, we'll select Line. In the Context ribbon, in the Draw panel, we'll begin by creating the Door panel rectangle. So let's go ahead and select Rectangle, and then we'll set our correct subcategory. This will be set to Door Panels. We can now sketch our door panel. There's no need to constrain the rectangle to the reference planes. This relationship will automatically be there. We'll now create our center point arc to represent the actual swing. So again, on the Draw panel, we'll select Center Ends Arc. And in the subcategory drop-down menu, we'll now change our subcategory from door panels to swing symbols. The center of the arc is going to be snapped to this position here. We'll then pick a start point here and an end point here. We'll now release the command by pressing Escape twice. Again, we can now test the operation of our parametrics by dragging the top reference plane. So we'll select it, and with the left button held down, we can now drag this and just check that all of the graphics and geometry react accordingly. Another thing we'll need to consider here is the level of detail. In a coarse level of detail, I'd just like to see one line representing the door panel and then the arc showing the swing. In a medium and fine level of detail, I'd like to see all of the information as it's shown here at the minute. So what we'll need to do is select the remaining 3 lines here that we want to actually hide when we select a coarse level of detail. So we'll go ahead and select these elements. Again, I've got the Control key held down there, which will help us select multiple elements. And on the Context ribbon in the Visibility panel, you'll notice here we have Visibility settings. Very simply, we've selected our geometry, and we can now control how this appears by checking or unchecking these various different settings here. So essentially, this line work that I've selected only wants to be displayed in a medium and fine level of detail. So we'll uncheck the coarse level of detail and click OK. Now again, we'll want to test this before actually saving the family. So let's take our cursor down to the View control bar, and here you can see that we have Preview Visibility. We'll go ahead and select this, and we'll make sure that Preview Visibility is switched on. You'll notice that we get the yellow frame around the current view, and that tells us we're in a temporary mode. Now I can clearly see here that the line work that we've just selected has actually just been hidden. And the reason for that is you'll notice again on the View control bar, our current level of detail is set to coarse. Let's now set this to medium. And of course now we can see those other lines appear. And that should be the same when we're on the fine level of detail. Okay, let's now return that back to a coarse level of detail. So I can now clearly see that everything is working as it should be. So we'll go back to the Preview Visibility mode and we'll set this off. We'll zoom out a little bit here, and we're now ready to save this. To do this, we'll go onto our Quick Access toolbar and click Save. And we'll name the file Door Swing Plan and click Save. Okay, so our door swing is now completed.